Good morning. Good morning. It's Elizabeth Eleanor with Pause, and it's time for us to talk about jealousy. I'm just tuning in. I'm actually really tired. I woke up at like 3 o'clock this morning thinking that it was 6, and I just couldn't get back to bed. And of course, when the alarm went off, I didn't want to get out of bed. So I would love for you to say hi in the chat and where you're watching from. Just check that I'm on and everything's firing up the right way. So we're going to talk about jealousy and the difference between jealousy and envy. So um, jealousy is a very interesting thing because it's actually uh, when we're desiring something and we feel like we can't get it, right? So jealousy is something that we can actually use to our advantage if we're on a spiritual journey and we're moving into being a magical woman and stepping into our power, our empowerment. When we are in a space of feeling jealous is actually an indication that there's something external to us that we want, that we desire, and we can use that to our ability to connect in with that desire and move it closer to ourselves, right? Envy is a different thing altogether. Envy can be very insidious, can be very corrosive. It's like, I want something that somebody else has, and they shouldn't have it, right? Like when you're envious of someone, there's there's an element of greed in it, and it can be very toxic to your environment, right? And envy has the elements in it of it being, there's not enough for me, right? There's not enough to go around. There's not enough happiness. There's not enough, um, you know, abundance. There's not enough of something. And so envy is a limitation. And good morning, Irene. Envy has limitation to it, like you're restricted and there is a separateness around it, whereas jealousy has a very different feel to it altogether. Jealousy has it's a complex emotion, right? It's something that is pulling at a desire of, this is what I would love to have, right? I would love to have more love. I would love to have more abundance. I would love to have what that person's got. You know, like you see somebody in your life that has, love, a beautiful relationship, and you may be jealous of that person. When you feel jealousy, you can switch it around into, this is something that I desire and I would love to experience that, right? So typically what jealousy, the emotions around jealousy are feelings of feeling insecure and feeling that there's a fear that you're not good enough, right? So there's feelings of insecurity and not feeling good enough and not feeling worthy and all of those things, right? So when you're dealing with a relationship, for example, and you can see somebody else is, has a beautiful relationship, but your relationship's not really going very well. Maybe your partner is not connecting and being intimate, and maybe there's been some betrayal somewhere along the line already, and so there's not a lot of safety in your relationship, or there's not a lot of trust in your relationship. Then when you're seeing somebody else in a relationship that is beautiful, it can make you feel very jealous, right? So using jealousy as an emotion to pull you forward and look at what needs to be addressed in your own energy field is a really beautiful way of flipping it over, right? Not being what's the word for it? Not being feeling bad about the fact that you're feeling jealous, but using it as an opportunity to recognize yourself and recognize a limitation that you feel that you have around a desire that you want, right? So if you're feeling jealous outside of yourself of a, a situational jealousy where, for example, a partner that might be talking to their ex-partner and they've got a beautiful relationship, then but you're not having that experience with them, then there's something to look at and address. So I've got a story, as I do. I've always got stories, right? I remember I was hanging out with a guy and we were sort of building a relationship just before I met Tim. In fact, was one of the reasons I moved down this way, because he was living down the south coast. And we sort of, we were getting to know each other, and he was quite an interesting guy and really creative, beautiful poetry and all of the things. But I remember the first time I was at his house and he answered the phone to someone. It was another woman. And he answered the phone the same way he answered the phone to me. And I noticed that moment, right? Like, oh, he answers the phone like that to everyone, right? Or to other people. And I just noticed this little twinge in me, because I thought I wanted, like I was special in some way, right? And there was a few moments like that. I noticed that when we were walking, he often walked in front of me. He didn't walk next to me. He didn't hold my hand. I noticed that he, we made this beautiful meal together, and it came together really well. And while we were eating it, he was talking about how he was going to share the recipe with this other person, this other woman that he knew. It was a friendship, but it's still, there was these moments, right? These moments of feeling like I wasn't special. And so I had to really sit with it, right? Because would I say it was jealousy? There was definitely something. There was this feeling of this doesn't feel right. And I was getting what I needed from the relationship, except for these moments. It was like, there's something here that doesn't feel right, right? Now, I want you to put this into an experience that you may have experienced, or someone else that's experienced, where you're not getting all your needs met in a relationship, but you're noticing others are from the same person, right? Or they're getting more attention, or they're getting more courtesy, or they're getting more love, or whatever it might be. And these little twinges within us that are giving us an indication there's something to look at. So what happened was, because I'm where I'm at in my development, my spiritual development or whatever, and I didn't actually need the relationship. It wasn't something that there was no need for me to have a partner. I noticed these moments, and so I let them sort of just sort of like, okay, there's something here. I want to just feel it, and is this me being a little bit out of balance, or am I being a little bit asking for too much, or whatever, am I too much, all of the things, right? So I always look at myself first. Where is this coming from? And is it situational? Is it something that is an internal need? Or is there really a problem here for me in this relationship? So after a couple of times, and there was a few different things, right? I didn't just jump straight away because when you're a lioness, you know that you just sit and you observe and you take note of all of the things that are happening in your world before you pounce, right? People think that lioness or lions are aggressive, but they're actually not. They're very docile, gentle, relaxed, and it's only when they need to attack that they do, right? I didn't attack, but what I did do is there was a moment where I needed to speak what was going on, and I just shared my feelings of this is how I'm feeling, and I noticed this and this, and I'm not feeling special, right? Well, this guy was a bit narcissistic, I found out, and he brought up that because at the time this Facebook group was called Women of Light, and he brought up and said, oh, I thought you were a woman of light, like I should be allowed to love all women, right? And it sort of threw me because I sort of agreed with what he was talking about, right? And so I had to work out where I sat with that. So when it comes to jealousy, when you're recognizing something, and I'm going to keep breaking this down, right? When you're recognizing that you've got a feeling about something, the first thing you want to do is acknowledge and validate that feeling, right? Because often what we do is we make it wrong, and our good girl behavior, our people-pleasing behavior is so ingrained and so rooted in our unconscious that we don't even recognize it, right? And what tends to happen is the good girl tends to attract narcissistic behavior from people. And so we may get or have had in previous experiences someone saying, well, that isn't a valid feeling or emotion, you're overreacting, all of those things, right? So now we feel uncomfortable speaking our truth, and so therefore we hesitate with our experience and whether we want to share our truth in this situation, right? So we start second guessing our behaviors and our feelings and our thoughts and all of those things. I want to share with you, it is totally valid for you to have a feeling, because if you're having a feeling, it stems from a belief or an experience, a memory or an event that you've had before that may need to be cleaned up, yes, but it may be something that is going to support you for your spiritual growth. In fact, the whole thing is always your spiritual growth, right? So let's break that down even more. So when he came to me with, I should be able to love all women, right? I sort of agreed with him, and I had to look at my behavior of, do I want to be special, or should I, is he allowed to love everyone, right? And so I have this moment of having to go internally into myself and recognize that I had two opposing thoughts. And so this is where jealousy can be used to flip the experience you're having. You can use it to your advantage to create self-awareness and growth, right? So the first thing is, as I was saying, validate your feelings. If you feel the need to and you feel comfortable and safe, then you express those feelings and you get the response back, right? Now, in this case, he responded the way he did, and I had to sit with it. I said, yeah, okay, let me just think about it. And this is another thing, giving yourself the opportunity to pause, right? This is why we call this pause. Pause and not know the answer straight away. You do not have to come back with the answer straight away. You have the right to go, I'm going to sit with this for a moment while I process it, right? While I work it out. And so going through that process gives yourself some time to get some clarity. So in this case, what I recognized was that I had a belief that I wanted to be special in a relationship with one partner, right? To be the woman and him be the man, right? That's my belief. But then I had this other belief of spiritual awakening and everyone loving each other and he could do whatever he wants and blah blah blah. And I had to look and find which one was mine, because you would think that this one over here, being spiritually okay to love everyone, would be mine, but it actually wasn't. And it was because that was a spiritual belief that was in, the spiritual development collective or whatever. Now, I also believe that all people can love everyone, but I wanted to be the special one. I wanted to be set apart, right, in my relationship. And so through that process of, maybe it was jealousy, like I didn't feel the twinges of jealousy the way a lot of people do, because I've done a lot of cleaning up and clearing of old traumas from my childhood, of stuff that's holding me back from my family, like my bloodline, right, that may have been in my DNA, was in my DNA, because I've done a lot of clearing. I've had healings where women have gone out of my crown chakra holding hands, millions, not millions, but hundreds of women pouring out of my crown chakra as I've cleared the generational history that has been in my auric field, right? That's the sort of stuff that we do in Conscious Creator. But when I came to this understanding, I then spoke my truth, and I realized that this relationship was not the right one, because if he wanted to love everyone, so be it, and I respected him for it. But I wanted to be special in my man's in a relationship with my man, and so I let go of that relationship. Well, I've got to tell you, it was only I think it was maybe less than 6 months later that I met Tim at the beach, because I cleaned up the energy inside of me. I spoke my truth and I decided what I wanted, and I took action on that, on what it was that I wanted to create. So when you are having a feeling or an experience that doesn't, it lowers your vibration, it might twinge you, there might be a bump somewhere, in your experience. Like jealousy is a feeling of insecurity and fear. It can increase things like anxiety and resentment and overwhelm as well, or anger, depending on, or shame, pull you back and can result in shame and self-doubt, all of those things. When you have that, this is an opportunity for you to explore the experience of what this is giving you. What is the message that your higher self is sharing with you? What is the message that your unconscious wants you to see that might need to clean up? Be okay with validating your feelings and acknowledging them, right? Identify underlying insecurities. Communicate that with the person, right? So this could be a friendship, this could be your partner, this could be a family member, right? Whoever it is. All of these things need, one of the biggest parts of this is rebuilding your self-esteem and your self-worth. And you do that by emotionally regulating with things like, mindfulness processes, meditation, do some recoding, come and check me out and see what sort of work I do. Shifting the focus into trust and gratitude, and seeking support from someone like a therapist or a coach or a mentor that is going to able to support you to validate these feelings that you're having and support you to find the root cause of where they come from and the significant distress that is causing in the first place, and be able to shift that. Now, one of the things that we do in Conscious Creator is we shift it from the source of where it came from. So it could be even a past life, right? You could have been betrayed from a lover in a past life, and now you don't feel trustworthy of any relationships, right? You're always checking things. I remember I was in a relationship with a guy, actually the first time I got married, and I walked into the bedroom one day and he was sitting on the bed reading my diary. And I was in a place where I was totally comfortable. Now I look back at it, I'm like, man, I should have had a go at him. Like for not looking at, what's the word for it? Infiltrating my privacy, right? Have you ever had that experience where you've had someone not trust you, and so do something like read your diary or whatever? And I actually had no problem with it because there was nothing in my diary that caused any problems. But what was really interesting was I used to write in my diary all the time, and I stopped writing in my diary, and I haven't written in a diary like that ever since, and it's been 12 years. It sort of stopped the behavior and the pattern that I was of me connecting into myself in that way. I do script, right? And we talk about scripting in this group, where you're creating your life through scripting, but I don't journal anymore. So if you're feeling jealousy in any way, it's an indication of something you need to look at. That's the first thing. Don't feel bad about it. We tend to go into this, people pleasing, good girl stuff. Instead, see it as a valid experience, a valid feeling. I'm feeling this for a reason. Why am I feeling this? Am I connecting with my intuition, and there's something I need to look at, right? Because it might be an indication of not trusting someone, and there might be a valid reason for that, right? So, or is it something from my past? Whatever it might be, validate it first, recognize that it's okay to feel it. Go internal, check out what's going on, why you're feeling this way, how's your heart feeling, what's your intuition telling you, is it something that you desire and you're not getting, right? So how can you change that? Sometimes it means leaving a partner because they're not treating you the way you should be treated, right? Connecting with yourself and knowing that you're worth loving, you're worth being valuable, like you are valuable, and really shift that confidence, that self-confidence. Speak your truth, share the information with the person, and your feelings, so that you can have a healthy conversation around it. Get the feedback. Something may be rectified depending on the person. If someone is truly your person, your friend, your lover, whatever, then they will go into that space of how can we change this? How can we fix this so that you feel as loved and valued as I want you to feel? I want you to know that I really, truly love you. And so, it might be exactly the right thing that you needed, because they may have gone into old patterns of their own and not not paying the attention to you that you actually need and want and desire as a woman, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting attention and choosing love and to be valued and validated in life, right? We all have the beautiful energy of being priestesses at one stage in our life, where we were totally honored and loved and supported and connected. And so we were valued and valuable people in community. And so if you're feeling anything less than, then it's because you know, your soul knows that you should be treated way better than this. And so allow yourself to know that experience and to bring that awareness into you so that you're being treated with the utmost respect, the utmost connection and love and support and all the things. Because when our cup is full, ladies, then we have enough to share and love and support the community. It's part of who we are. It's part of our natural way of being. And if you're experiencing anything less than that, then I want you to question the relationships that you're in and the experiences that you're having and the people that are influencing you on a regular basis, and ask yourself, why have I chosen this? And what can I have? You know, like, look, you can have better than this. Now, we're going to be talking about shifting our vibration and moving into a place where we are valued and validated and creating at a higher frequency. We have on this week, coming up, we have Manifest Impossible Things, and I think it's on Thursday at 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Time, and is going to support you to see and feel that elevation. We're going to be talking about how to create impossible things, and that means being in fifth dimensional frequency. So if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about that, then just put impossible things into the chat, and we will see you and we'll send you the link. I hope you got some, this information helped you. I would love for you to share in the comment what you got, what sort of takeaways and what sort of reflections you've had from this pause, because this is all about reflecting and supporting each other. Something that you've experienced here may support another woman in her journey as well. So throw it in the chat if what sort of takeaways or what it stirred in you, and let's see if we can create a collective energy around it. Yes, it's this month's mixer, Kaz. So it's Manifest Impossible Things. It's on this Thursday. Take care, ladies, and I will catch you next time. See ya.